You know, years ago, I think it was during the late 70s, maybe 78, 79, I had this interview with George Kanahele. And it was interesting because the question he had asked me was, what was Hawaiian art? Rocky, what is Hawaiian art? The fact that you're Hawaiian blood and you create Hawaiian imagery. I said, yeah, that's one way. You can look at it that way. You can look at it as that. I said, but what cuts us from the boys from the men, or from the men from the boys, right? How does that cut? Because if you're going to use that as an example, then you can do anything you like, because you see, you're representing a portion that is not Hawaiian. You're just saying it, you're just thinking it, but how does that translate in your work? See, that's the proof of the pudding, the product. Wow, that looks Hawaiian. Wow, that looks Japanese. Oh, that looks, yeah. That's what you need. This is the challenge that makes the Hawaiian art. Okay, what's the difference between brother that turns the bowl on a lathe versus the brother that carves it like you out of a block of wood? Well, that one's going to be used for poi. It's going to be used for store clothes. It's going to be used to do mundane functions, utilitarian functions. But this bowl will be used for ceremony. This bowl will be used to what? Pay respect, pay reverence, one chief from another. That's what this bowl represents. That's why they do these things. That's why they make these things, because there was an enormous reverence, not only how they lived, how they survived, but how they got along as people. That's the difference. What is Hawaiian art? How you behave. Because that's what allows you to seek out these designs to work in your favor. Because if you know enough about your people, you know enough about the things that have survived, then you'll understand how important it is for this generation or the generations to come to be vigilant, to be assertive, to be aggressive in trying to maintain their culture. Let's not pass it off as a joke or an entertainment. I wasn't put on this planet to entertain you. Give me back what is mine, and I will produce those things that belong to us. Those temples belong to us. They don't belong to the state. They belong to those people who built them. You didn't build them. Just like the fish ponds. It's the people who built them. Just like those auvais. It's the people who built them. Now you've just taken over all of our achievements. You've taken over all of our accomplishments, and you put a claim to it, and we do what? We got nothing but a list as beneficiaries. I'm shackled to your system as a beneficiary. That's why I do this gesture. Because we're not going to get on the land if you put us on the list. And this is what prevents us from becoming free to create Hawaiian art. See, it's not the stuff, yeah? You know this. I'm not talking about the stuff. I'm talking about the freedom of philosophy, how we see ourselves in the world, not through your eyes, through our eyes. This has always been my goal, is to make the others see us. There aren't that many Hawaiians out the world. There are more Chinese and Japanese and blacks and Europeans all over the world. Why did they come here in this little inkwell in the Pacific? Inkwell, 7 islands you can get in Manhattan. That doesn't leave us much room, yet the room we do have, you keep us off of it. So I carve in my garage, not a cultural center where I can teach the youth of the next generation, or I can teach the teachers a thing or two, because they got this holy paper that gives them the right to teach Hawaiian. I don't understand that. They didn't learn it from the Hawaiian, they learned it from a book in the Hawaiian studies class. That's why we're stuck in neutral. That's why we haven't progressed. That's why we haven't maintained the kind of scope that the Maoli had. The Kanaka Maoli was great. He invented so many things we still have not yet figured out. Oh, I don't know about that star. Well, then figure it out. Well, I don't know about that plant. Figure it out. They did. That's why I'm proud to be Maoli. Yeah, I'm part Hawaiian. I'm native Hawaiian. David Ige is Hawaiian. Ben Kaitano is Hawaiian. But that don't make them native. That don't make them Maoli. They're just visitors here. They invited themselves here. We didn't invite them. I didn't invite statehood. You invite these things in, and this is how they show you their aloha. They keep you off the track. They keep you non-existing. They keep you begging. They keep you begging for stuff that belongs to you, to me, not to them. They didn't buy it. They didn't make it. They didn't bring it. We've lived here since day one. You can't. Where will you shuffle us? Just like you shuffle them from what? From the bottom of the United States to Oklahoma. Didn't they do that? The Trail of Tears for the Native Americans. Didn't you just throw them on reservations in Puyallup and all these other reservations? Finally, we got homestead, but you don't throw us on that. You put us on a list. Again, it stops us from being creative. How do you create Hawaiian art when you're thinking haole, survival? It doesn't work like that. It doesn't. I've been on this planet now for 72 years. Show me how the Hawaiians benefited. Show me. Show me. Big time now. Show me. We got a cultural center? That's number one. Cultural centers. We have one? We got charter school. Charter school. Boatloads, truckloads, charter school. But they're still teaching haole. Haole. Not Maoli. Haole. No galleries for Maori, or Maori people. No, none of that. No cultural centers. So how can this survive if there is, that Field of Dreams, built them and they'll come? We got malls up at the Yin Yang on Homestead. We got fire stations, business on the Yin Yang on Homestead. But where's our cultural center? That these things could be part and parcel of how education can be taught properly. Not because it's a job. The state is paying me so much a month and I get benefits. I don't have benefits. I don't have medical. I might get paid 3 years later down the road. That's why the Hawaiian art is essential. It has a lot to do with our spiritual thing. It has nothing to do with regurgitating ki'is and regurgitating bowls and regurgitating. That's what my Maori friends used to say. Bro, you guys just regurgitating, man. And I realized he was right. Because we have not gone back to achieve the Kanaka Maoli philosophy. We're part Catholic, we're part Mormon, we're part Protestant, we're part. In the religious sense. But are you Kanaka Maoli? Do you have a temple you go to worship? If they are without their temples, where are they to worship? If they are without their altars, how can they leave their offerings to the ancestors? And if they don't have an altar and a temple, then how do we utter our prayers to make our connections to the ancestors? How do we do that if you take all these things away from us? And that happened in 1819, the death of Kekuokalani and his wife Manono, through the hands of Billy Pitt and John Adams. Two Hawaiians that became haole. You get rid of them, you get rid of this. So you want me to just dress up like the Western world? You want me just to act like the California world? Or you want me to act like what? Why can't I act the way I am? This is my country. These are my things. We chanted them. We tried to care for them. People just came here to bulldoze and make a shopping mall. That's all. It's about money. The same thing that, what did Christ say? You have turned my Father's temple into a den of thieves. Hey, live with it. You guys seem to work with that theory really well. That Maoli don't work like that for me. I'm happy to just get wood without having to cut it. I'm just happy with that. I'm happy with the freedom. I can go places and do things. I don't need a permit. I don't need a license. That's for the others. Why are you doing this to me? Just like the Boston Tea Party. You guys threw that stuff away. But we can't throw away our identity. We can't throw away the fact that we're Maoli. We're not tea. We're Maoli. We're the genuine human being. Genuine human being. Your original human being. That's how we see ourselves. Because in order to be that person, you got to live it. You got to live it. You got to make the stuff. So you can remind yourself, it's not only you, it's all of us. Kako, all of us. That's why I don't understand when people don't complain alongside with us why these things are not in its proper perspectives. We're constantly fighting every day to put or place some of these things where it would be understood. Understood. It's a real hard thing to live when you are not given that freedom. We'll run over to so-and-so and talk about their freedom, and run over here in Vietnam and run over here in Iraq about freedom. But yet you look at home, our freedoms are just forgotten. So people run along and say, well, what about the human rights thing? Well, what about it? Look at the Maoli. He can't go freely. Oh, no make waves, bro. No rock the boat. Isn't this part of rocking the boat, Hawaiian art? See, hula don't rock the boat. Make you happy. Hawaiian music no rock the boat. Make you happy. But this could be, problematic. Making me think. Making me try to understand. Ma'opopo ya'upa. I understand. Same. It needs to be nurtured like a plant. It needs to be nurtured like a child. It needs to be nurtured like a relationship. It needs to be nurtured. That's not what we're doing here. Everybody for himself. The art is essential. It's a recognition of all the achievements throughout time. Mai kapo mai o yayo. Truth is before time. Mai kapo mai o yayo. I didn't make it up. I didn't make it up. How many people read the Kumulipo? See, if you read these things and then you realize what the Kumulipo actually represented, you would feel more passionately about where you live. Malama aina, aloha aina, malama kupuna, malama keiki. Same, right? You put that distraction in front of us, and you keep putting more distractions in front of us. You think you're going to allow us to grow to that place? Or you think we're going to reach that point where we finally get it as Maoli? See, and that's why I do what I do. The Hawaiian art will survive because these things will outlive me. They will. Even if the world gets covered by water, these things afloat. So, I do have something, a legacy that I do leave behind. A legacy of the passion and the belief that the Maoli people really did not get their due. See, I don't have any perceptions about what I think I am. I know who I am. I know what I am. That's why the product here is a proof to the things that I do that should be added to the philosophy or the continuance or the uplifting of Hawaiian culture. And not keep it just a dance. That's just performing. That's just performing arts. How come I'm on the list again? 4,733 on the list. How come? Because you guys believe in the culture? What am I? That's why I wonder where we fit. People like me especially. People like me. I don't find too many people wanting to risk it all. Because it's a hard thing to do when you're trying to be creative. For me to create these things, you know, and I do them with gusto. You know, when I get into my work, it's just like just pounding, and you know, I could see it already. It's just a block, but I still see it as a finished piece. From the time I put tool to wood until the last grain of sandpaper, yeah, that's how it works. There's no shortcut to stuff like this.